Hi, I thought I'd just go through the student options. This might help doing a short video. So I've opened the Year 9s. The first thing to do is to check the parameters. So the parameters define the sort of elective structure that's going to happen. So we've said that most kids need 4 electives in Year 9, and it's got to run over 4 lines. And we're going to have 2 subgrids. Subgrid 1 will be semester 1, and subgrid 2 will be semester 2. And then we define what the end of semester 1 is, which I've said is line 2. That means line 3 and 4 will be semester 2. Jump into students. We've got all our students there. The one thing to check is any new students, their student code will come up. If it doesn't appear to be in a consistent pattern with the other students, it'll come up in yellow. So I think all these Year 9s are correct. We've just got to make sure that the student code matches what's in the admin system. Okay, then we jump to preferences. So I've already sent through, we've got about 11 kids that haven't entered preferences, and there are a couple of kids that haven't entered reserves. So preference order, preference 1, and we made them enter 8, I think it was. Yep. So we just need to find out who these kids, or what these kids' preferences are, but we can go ahead regardless. Already shown Nathan, one of the things we have to work out is just these codes, make sure that those codes are okay. Then we jump into how many classes to run, the tallies screen. So we've got a classes and lines column, and for the most part in this particular instance they'll be the same number. So based on the tally, which is this column here, of how many kids have picked a subject. So we've got 15 kids with animation, so we've said 1 line and 1 class, whereas 49 kids have picked biology, so we've said 2 classes. And where it comes up in red is where the number of kids exceeds the maximum class size. So if we only run 1 class, that straight away means that 2 kids will miss out. Likewise there, we're going to get, 48, we're going to get 4 students miss out. Now, one of the things we probably need to do is work out what total number of classes. So we've got 22 classes at the moment. And I think if we have 6 classes per line, we could go up to 24. So we could add 2 classes of a particular subject. Now, one way to help that would be look at the reserve. So this number here indicates the reserve preferences in addition to the original preferences. So when you see large numbers, I guess that's the, okay, it looks like fabulous fast food. We might want to run 3 classes instead of 2, and so on. Next thing we can do is put some constraints in. So the constraints are whether we have room or teacher constraints. So we don't want cooks for causes and fabulous fast foods running at the same time, so we pick both of those 2 and say only one of those can run at any particular time. Look for anything else. The arts, I don't know, there's digital photography, which has to be in B4, and there might be, I'm not sure, the art changes each year whether any of the other art classes have to be in B4, but I'll leave that blank, but you get the idea there. So we can put our constraints in. Then we jump to the grid. Now I've already created a grid, so what I'm going to do is delete the whole grid and start. I'm going to choose delete all the lines, and then I could choose auto create, which creates a quick, pretty good set of grids. What I'm going to do is do it manually, and we've got 2 buttons. We've got the test button and the test all. The test all, what it does at this particular instant in time, it works out what's the hardest subject to place. So if I click test all, it's worked out drama is the hardest subject to place. So if I double click, I can place 26 kids in the class and put that in line 1. Hit test all again, that picks the next hardest, which is cooks for causes. Double click where it suggests. Hit test all again. We're going into semester 2 now. It's saying creative expression is the next hardest. So that can take 28 kids. Test all again. It's the 4th hardest subject is game maker. Let's put that in semester 2 in line 4. Okay, then we hit test all again, and it's now saying robotics is the hardest. The number in the cell indicates the number of clashes, so I've got 2 clashes if I put in line 1. They're the 2 clashes. I've got 4 clashes if I put it in line 2 because of cooks for causes. I've got 2 clashes because of creative expression, and I've got a whopping 8 classes because of game maker, so I guess robotics has to happen there. And so on. You can do this all manually. Fabulous Fast Foods. Notice that there's a red R coming up because we put in that we can't have cooks for causes and Fabulous Fast Food on at the same time. So it's warning me about that. So initially we've got 7 clashes. Now what I can do is I said we could run another class, so I can hit the test button and it's saying the best I'm going to do is 1 clash, and that's probably good from a staffing point of view. The person that takes that class can take the corresponding class in semester 2, or I can leave that and hit test all just to work out, although it has worked out food is the next harder subject. So keep on going. Materials, we've only got 1 class, so that's the best place. So if you keep going, you can see how you go. What I'm going to do is just going to delete all of that work again. I'm going to use the auto create. Usually I give it 100% flexibility. If class sizes go a little bit big, it just gives it flexibility. You get a better result. So it's basically doing that test all automatically, and then I auto assign the kids. This gives me the quality report. I've got 35 kids with a reserve, 16 kids who have missed a preference. Now remember, we had 11 kids that didn't put in, so part of that 16 will be the 11. So if I then jump down into the interactive screen, well, first of all, I can just have a quick look by changing the display of the actual class size. I can just have a quick look at class sizes for each of these subjects. So forensics is full. Okay, you get the idea. Then we jump down into the interactive where we can swap and change individual students. I'll go into the assigned student and then work out who are the 16. So we're looking at the 16 kids who haven't got enough units. So Alex hasn't put any choices in, so on. So we get probably down to there. So all of those guys haven't put choices in, that's why they're coming up. And this guy, Thomas, has missed line 4 because he's one of the guys that didn't put it in a reserve, so he's going to be manually placed somewhere. Jake is missing something on line 2 because we've hit the maximum class size on STEM. So I don't know if you can force him in if you want to, make it 27, so he's happy, but the teacher's not. And so on. I think you're pretty familiar with this screen. So that's the basic process for constructing a simple set of grid lines. Thanks.